తెలంగాణ గురుకుల పోటీ పరీక్షల్లో ప్రభంజనం సృష్టిస్తూ 3 లక్షల మంది అభ్యర్థులకు పైగా ఫాలోవర్స్ నమ్మకాన్ని ప్రశంసలు అందుకుంటూ నాణ్యమైన విద్యను మరియు పుస్తకాలను అందిస్తున్న ఏకైక సంస్థ S&S పబ్లికేషన్స్.
గురుకుల జనరల్ స్టడీస్ తెలుగు మీడియం 4 books ప్యాకేజ్, గురుకుల తెలుగు కంటెంట్ అండ్ పెడగాజీ 2 books ప్యాకేజీతో పాటు ర్యాపిడ్ బిట్ బ్యాంక్ ఉచితం.
గురుకుల ఇంగ్లీష్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ పెడగాజీ 2 books ప్యాకేజ్.
గురుకుల మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ పెడగాజీ 3 books ప్యాకేజ్.
గురుకుల బయాలజికల్ సైన్స్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ పెడగాజీ 2 books ప్యాకేజ్.
గురుకుల సోషల్ స్టడీస్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ పెడగాజీ 3 books ప్యాకేజ్.
ఈ పుస్తకాలను మీ సొంతం చేసుకోవడానికి అన్ని ప్రముఖ బుక్ షాపుల్లో మరియు www.sonlinebooks.com వెబ్సైట్ లో లభించును.
మరిన్ని వివరాలకు సంప్రదించవలసిన నంబర్స్ 8070557777 and 9032064822.
Last class we are discussed about the in the union government, not the central government. Okay, in the union government we already completed about the president, prime minister, okay, vice president, council of ministers and the parliament also. And the one more thing is left. What is that? It is nothing but of the Supreme Court. It is nothing but of the Supreme Court. We said what is the organs of the government? From first onwards we are discussing. We know everyone will be know that the organs of the government is nothing but of the legislature, executive and the judiciary. Legislature, executive and the judiciary. What is the ultimate for the Indian constitution? For whom the Indian constitution is given the more power? That is the union government. Why the Indian government? The Indian constitution is given the more powers to the union government. We've seen already in the history. Why? Because before that we are the separated and we are having the provinces is there. Provinces is nothing but of the states which are ruled by the kings. The provinces are nothing but of the states which are ruled by the kings. And all these things, because of all these things, what the seeing of the history and all these things, the constitutional makers who are writing the constitution, who are writing at the drafting of the constitution, they decided, drafting of the constitutional makers, they decided the union should be strong. The union should be the strong. Okay, states is, that's why in our constitution what is the first part of the Indian constitution? Union. India means the first part of the Indian constitution. Article 1 to 4 we are discussing union and its states. Union and its states. India is nothing but of the union. It's only the unitary, only the single. It's the single, but it is having the branches. It's having the like the tree. Tree is there. Tree is our union, and the branches are the state. And the big tree is there. The branches of the state. The tree branch is the important. Okay, stems is also important. Stems is also, but without the roots, how the stems will be the strong? How the stems will be the strong? How the stems will be the strong? Like that, the constitutional makers, like that, the constitutional makers made it the center. The union is very strong. The union is the very strong. To bring, why? Because on the international context or anything, the union's what we are telling we are having only one parliament. We are having only one president of India, one vice president and one Supreme Court, one parliament. Why all these things only one? Why only one? We are having the so many states is there. Why we are having only the one? Means they are having the ultimate powers. As per the constitution preamble, we are telling the ultimate powers are vested only with the people. No, but okay, only with the people. But the ultimate decisions, parliament is the supreme. Parliament is the supreme. In the constitution, they are written like that. The parliament is the supreme. The parliament is the ultimate. The parliament decision is the final decision. Once the president will be signed, after the signature of the when the bill will become the law. The bill will become the law after the signature of the president of India. After the signature of the all the what the in the parliament we are discussed, what are the legislative powers of the parliament, amma? Everything. Okay, for example, we are having only the union list, state list and the concurrent list, but in these three lists also the union list and the concurrent list is completely under the control of the union only. Here only we are seeing how much the union is powerful, how much the union is the powerful. Okay, once the emergencies, the president is having the right to declare the emergency. Okay, and with the advice of the president and the council of ministers, he made that, okay, that state is in the unrest, we can declare that a presidential rule in that state. Okay, like that, the so many things made it. The union is very strong. So many things made it. The union is very, very, very strong. In that, the one of the part is the judiciary also. The final decision is what is the final judgment at the Supreme Court is, it's the final. Anything is there upper than the Supreme Court? Anything is there upper than? No. Only for the case where we are filed. First of all, we are able to directly file our case in the Supreme Court? No, it won't be accepted also. Directly we will file the case in the Supreme Court. What the justice will be said, judge will be said, yes, first of all, you go and file that case in your local district court. Okay, after that it's having the some process is there. Why? Because the Supreme Court cannot know what is the issue will be happened at the ground level. What the person will be telling, the lawyer will be telling, he has to know. First of all, they have to know about and that's why anything will be happen. First of all, we have to approach our district court. We won't get that there, we will feel we won't get the justice in the district court. Then we will go to the high court. In that state, every state is having the high courts. But we are having only one Supreme Court. Like that, in the states that we are not get the justice, we feels that we are not getting the justice in the high court, or the case is delaying. That time the individual is having the right to approach the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court decision is the final decision. Every individual has to accept the Supreme Court's decision. Who has gone the justice in the court, who wants the justification, everyone, when they have to, what the Supreme Court decision is the final decision. One more thing, in front of the law, in front of the Supreme Court, everyone is equal. Every individual is equal. Why? We are having the democratic form of the government. What the fundamental rights are telling? Right to equality. Everyone is equal. First of all, he is the citizen of this country. Afterwards only he may be the president, or he may be the prime minister, or he may be the council of ministers. That is the post allotted to that individual. But he is the citizen of this country. First of all, he is that individual is developed on this country based of the what are the policies, or what are the in the society, what are the government is giving the policies, government is giving the support to that individual. Okay, directly or indirectly, every individual will take the support of the government. Yeah, maybe the schools or the colleges at the teenage level, schools or the colleges, at the afterwards we are employment. Okay, after the education we are not going to the other, we will go to the other countries, but who has to certify that we are good, we are capable? Our country has to certify. Okay, like that. And this is the everyone is equal in front of the eyes of the law. every individual. That's why we are having the supreme, this is individual. Even through the impeachment process we can remove the President of India also. Through the impeachment process, removal of the president, impeachment process, we are having the right to remove the President of India also. Yeah, why? Because why the President of India is the first person of the country. President of India is the ultimate. His decision is the final. Okay, he may take the advice of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, but his decision is the final decision. Prime Minister's decision is the, President of India decision is the final decision. That's why in the Supreme Court also, what will be happening? We are having the Supreme Court, we are having the collegium. What is the collegium? These are the terminologies. The collegium is nothing but of the appointment of the judges, the bench of judges, appointment the other judges, the bench of judges is called the collegium. The bench of judges is called the collegium. Okay, like that the Supreme Court's decision is the once, for example, the Supreme Court wants to hang any individual, that time he has to take the permission of the President of India. Yes, but some cases the Supreme Court is the final. Supreme Court decision is the final. Even the Supreme Court is having the right to the judiciary. What the organs of the government. What is the legislature will do? Okay, and this we will call, it is nothing but of the checks and balances. Why? What the legislature will do, Amma? Legislature will be make the laws. The executive will be the implementation of the laws, and the judiciary will be check the laws. Means any individual feels that, and this is not the correct, this law, what the Parliament made the law, it is not useful for the people. It's not because of this law, people are not getting any benefit, people are not getting the beneficiaries. Okay, any individual is having the right to put the case in the court pit. That we call the the Supreme Court will be take up that case, and they will go through and they appoint some committee or something else, 3-bench committee or something, and they will be seen, yes, this is not the correct, because of this law no one is beneficiary, just go through it. He is having the right to make right to question the legislatures and the executive also. Okay, now we can see what is the Supreme Court, and the composition and how many members and everything. Now we are going to discuss about. Okay, Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the apex court in India. The Supreme Court is the apex court in India. Supreme Court is apex court in India. India has an independent and integrated judicial system. India is the independent and the integrated judicial system. Anyone is, just why we are telling that India is the independent and integrated judiciary. Independent, and why? And why they are telling the judiciary is the independent? Why we are telling the judiciary is in the Supreme Court judgment is the final judgment. It's the independent. No other individual, any other individual is trying to any individual is trying to mobilize, or any individual is trying to mabbi pettali, idi cheyali, idi cheyakodu. No individual, no organ of the government like the legislatures or executive, no one is having the right to interfere in the judiciary. no organ of the government is not having any right to interfere in the judicial statements, interfere in the judgments of the Supreme Court, interfere in the, no one is having, no individual is not having any right to, even that's why I am talking legislature and executive, no one is having the right to, no individual is having the right to, no individual is having the right to interfere, no individual is having the right to interfere in the judgments of the Supreme Court, interfere in the judgments of the Supreme Court. That's why anything will be happened, they will be, that case will be handed over to the CBI, Central Bureau of the Investigation, and the legislature and the CBI will be give the report to the Supreme Court. Okay, what the government will do, simply they will hand over that case to the CBI. Okay, that like that, that's why we will call the India is the independent judiciary. Even the Supreme Court is having the right to punish the President of India if the allegation is proved. If the, what is the allegation on him, it was proved. What is the allegation on him? Maybe he is the Prime Minister or the President of India or the Vice President. That allegation was proved. That allegation was proved. Automatically he is punished. He is punished. That time the Supreme Court decision, that's why, that's the reason. The President will take in the oath from Amma. Who will give the oath to the President of India? The Supreme Court Chief Justice. What is this Amma? Ante ప్రెసిడెంట్ చేత ఎవరు ప్రమాణ స్వీకారం చేయిస్తారు? ఓన్లీ సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ చీఫ్ జస్టిస్ మాత్రమే ప్రెసిడెంట్ చేత ప్రమాణ స్వీకారం చేయించేటటువంటి అధికారం సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ చీఫ్ జస్టిస్కి మాత్రమే ఉంది. Okay, any other person is having the right to give the vote to the President of India, and here itself showing it how the Supreme Court is important, how the Supreme Court is independent. Here itself it is showing that how the Supreme Court Chief Justice, how the Supreme Court is important in the Indian Constitution, how much value the Constitution, how much weight the Constitution is given to the Supreme Court. Okay, means the President of India, he is the first person of the country. He is the first person of the, his decision is the final decision. He is having the right to declare the emergency. He is having the right to declare the state emergency, financial maybe it's the advice afterwards. It's the other side of the coin. But even the President is taken the oath from the Supreme Court Chief Justice. That's why we will call the, it is the India is the independent and integrated judicial system, integrated judicial system. Unlike other federations, India has a single and unified judicial system from the entire country. What they are telling us? Like other federations. What is the federations? What we will call the federation? Already we discussed. The federation means federal form of the government. Unitary and the federal. Federal means two, more than one. Unitary and the federal. Unlike other federations, unlike the other countries having the other federations, the India is the only the single. Okay, like the other countries, they are having the different, here also we are having, but like other federations, the India has a single and unified judicial system. Single. The Supreme Court is only the single. The Supreme Court is only the single. Single and the unified. Single and the unified judicial system. It is the single and the unified judicial system for the entire country. They are talking about the entire country. Unified and the single and unified judicial system. Single and unified judicial system for entire country, for whole country. Okay, we are having the territories is there. India is the union and its territories, union and the states. but it is only the single and the unified judicial system of the entire country. Okay, and there are high courts at the state level and further below. Yes, we are having the, but it is the single entire country. High courts at the state levels and the below are the subordinate courts that we will call the district courts also. We will call the district courts also subordinate. High courts at the state level and further below and the subordinate courts also, below and the subordinate courts also. Okay, now we can see what is the composition of the Supreme Court. Okay, the composition of the Supreme Court. Now we can see, come with the composition of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court consists of a Chief Justice and not more than 33 judges. Thus in the Supreme Court, how many judges we are having? The one Chief Justice and 33 other judges, means 33 plus 1. Okay, 33 judges and Supreme Court Chief Justice. And the Parliament decides the number of judges by an act with the prior consent of the President and after consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court. Okay, what they are telling about, as per the Constitution, the composition of the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court consists of the Chief Justice, not more than 33 judges. Like our, what is the strength of the Lok Sabha? The strength of the Lok Sabha is the Lok Sabha 550. It should not be exceeded more than 550. Rajya Sabha 250. That is the maximum limit, maximum limit. Okay, and what is the strength of the, what is the end in the, that's why just see, this is the legislature and the judiciary. What is the Chief Justice? 33 plus 1, not more than 33. Below the 33 also we are had, but it should not be exceeded, the 33 members, like that. The Supreme Court consists of Chief Justice and not more than 33 judges. The Parliament decides the number of judges. By an act. The Parliament will be decide. That's why they are having, the Parliament is having the judicial powers is also. The Parliament is having judicial powers is or not there? Yes, the Parliament is having the judicial powers and the Parliament decides the number of judges. The Parliament decides the number of judges by an act. Parliament is deciding. The Parliament will be deciding how much number of judges will be there, should be with the act. Means they will put the bill in the Parliament. After the approval of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, the bill will be signed by the President of India and they will give the act. The number will be with the prior consent of, yes, I said na, prior consent of the President and after the consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court, judges may be appointed as the ad hoc judges of the Supreme Court by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Just see, I will explain this one. What they are telling, what is the first one? It should not be not more than 33 judges and one Chief Justice of the India. Next, the Parliament decide the number of judges. The Parliament will be decides the number of judges. How many judges should be needed for the Supreme Court by an act and with the prior consent of the President. The Parliament will be put the decides the number of judges by an act with the prior consent of the, they will take the permission from the President. The Parliament members means the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister will take the permission from the President of India. Yes, this much of the numbers is not sufficient for the this much of numbers is not sufficient for the Supreme Court. We are going to increase the number of judges of the Supreme Court. Okay, please give the acceptance. Please give the acceptance. Okay, they take the prior consent of the President and after consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court. Chief Justice of the, not the High Court amma, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court tappu paddada akkada. Okay, President and after the consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme, means how many judges they need, what is the requirement. We ask for the any work we are doing, the man work we need, we will see what is the requirement, what are the things you required, requirements. Okay, the prior consent of the President and after the consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Okay, judges may be appointed as ad hoc justice of the Supreme Court. Okay, then they will appoint the judges as the ad hoc basis. They will appoint the judges as the ad hoc judges of Supreme Court by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. These judges are appointed by the Supreme Court Chief Justice only, but with the permission of the Parliament. Before the Parliament putting the bill in the Parliament, the Prime Minister has to take the prior permission from the President of India and the Supreme Court Chief Justice. What are the how many members they are required, according to that they will put the bill. Okay, and this is the composition of the Supreme Court. Okay, what is the appointment process of the Supreme Court? What is the appointment process of the Supreme Court? According to Article 142(2), according to Article 142 of the Constitution, prescribes the appointment of the judges of the President of India. Okay, Constitution prescribes the appointment of judges by the President of India. Yes, they are appointed by the judges are appointed by the President of India. The Supreme Court judges are appointed by the President of India. The appointments are made after due consultation with the Chief Justice and the judges of the Supreme Court and the judges of the High Court as the President deemed necessary for the purpose. Yes, what the happening? Who will be, and the judges will be appointed by the judges will be appointed by the President of India. These appointments are made. When the appointments will be made, amma? The appointments are made after due consultation with the Chief Justice. The appointments will be made with after the due consultation, the consultation of the Chief Justice, judges of the Supreme Court and the judges of the High Court as the President deemed necessary for this purpose. Okay, these all the members are. Means the President will be appoints the Supreme Court Chief Justice, judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court judges also, and the High Court judge also. Then the collegium consists of the Chief Justice head who will make this appointment. I said already. And may the collegium consist of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the 4 senior judges. And how they will be appointed, who are suggesting these the Supreme Court judges and the High Court judges, for whom with the recommendations of the how the President of India will be appointing that members. How the President of India will be appointing that member means, I said already, the collegium consists of the Chief Justice and the 4 other judges. Supreme consist of the Chief Justice and the 4 other judges. 4 other judges, senior judges. Identify names and suggest for the Ministry of Judges, Justice and the Legal Affairs. We are having the Ministry of the Justice and the Legal Affairs. This is also the this ministry is also the cabinet minister only. This ministry is also the cabinet minister only. What they are doing, amma? Okay, these appointments is there. How they are appointing, who are any recommendations is there? No. And who are choosing them? According to their qualifications. According to their qualification. The collegium will be the collegium is nothing but of the collegium is consist of the 4+1 and 4 senior judges, 4 senior most judges and 1 Supreme Court judge. One Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, 1 Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Identify the names and who are the capable persons. Who are the capable persons to that post? Who are the capable persons to that post? Identify the names and suggest. They are identify the names and suggest for the Ministry of the, and they will given these the information. They will identify some names and they will suggest that names and they will send that, means the collegium, who will send? The collegium will be send the list of names. The collegium will be for the appointments of the High Court judges and the Supreme Court other judges. The collegium will be take the recommend some names. The collegium will be recommend some names, identify the names and suggest for the Ministry of the Legal Affairs. For whom they will send? They are sending the Ministry of the Justice and the Legal Affairs. Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs. Who are telling? Collegium will identify the members. The collegium will identify the names and suggest for the Ministry of the, and then these the ministries will be made the appointments. Okay, these the ministries will be take the decision. The Ministry of the Justice and the Legal Affairs, the Ministry of the Justice and the Legal Affairs, they will take the decisions. And they are appointed by the President of India. Okay, and next, how they will be vote, and he is the Ramana. Okay, and the judges of the Supreme Court make and subscribe and vote of the affirmation before the President of India prior to enter into the office. Once they have to enter into the office, means they have to enter into the Supreme Court, they have to for them the vote, the Supreme Court judge make and subscribe and vote of the affirmation before the President of India. They will give the vote before the President of India prior to enter. అంటే President of India ముందు ప్రమాణ స్వీకారం చేస్తారమ్మ వీళ్ళందరూ కూడా. వీళ్ళ చేత ఎవరు ప్రమాణ స్వీకారం చేయిస్తారు? సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ చీఫ్ జస్టిస్. ఈ జడ్జెస్ వీళ్ళందరినీ కూడా ఎవరి ముందు ప్రమాణ స్వీకారం చేస్తారు? President of India. They will, judges of the Supreme Court make and subscribe and vote of the affirmation before the President of India, prior to enter into the office. Before the President of India prior to enter into the office. Okay, and next one, what are the qualifications of the President? Supreme Court Chief Justice. One must be the Chief Justice or the judges of the Supreme Court. To be a judge of the Supreme Court, he must be the judge. To be the judge of the Supreme Court, one must be a citizen of India. It's a compulsory. For anything, okay, the citizen of India, he should be the citizen of India. He should be the citizen of India. He has been a judge of High Court for the 5 years. Once the person wants to become, the individual wants to become the judge of the Supreme Court, become the individual. Okay, what are the qualifications he needed? Individual wants to become the judge of the Supreme Court, he should need such qualifications like that. He must be the citizen of India. He must be the citizen of India, and he has been a judge of High Court for a 5 years. అంటే ఏంటి, సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ జడ్జి కావాలి అంటే కనుక వాళ్ళు ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఇట్స్ ద సిటిజన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఇట్స్, అండ్ దట్ పర్సన్ షుడ్ బి వర్క్డ్ యాజ్ ద జడ్జ్ ఇన్ ద హై కోర్ట్ ఫర్ ద 5 years. అంటే 5 సంవత్సరాల కాలం హైకోర్టులో జడ్జి కింద పనిచేయాలమ్మా. ఓకే, జడ్జ్ ఫర్ ద ఆఫ్ హై కోర్ట్ ఫర్ ద 5 years, ఆర్ హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఎ అడ్వకేట్ ఆఫ్ హై కోర్ట్, హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఎ అడ్వకేట్ ఆఫ్ ద హై కోర్ట్ ఫర్ ద 10 years. హైకోర్టులో జడ్జి అయినా అయి ఉండాలి, హైకోర్టు యొక్క జడ్జి కింద అయిన జడ్జి గారు. హీఈస్ నాట్ ద అడ్వకేట్, దెర్ ఇస్ ద డిఫరెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ ద జడ్జ్ అండ్ ద అడ్వకేట్. ఓకే, ద జడ్జ్ he will give the delivering the judgments. The judge, he will deliver the judgments. Advocate, he will take up the cases, maybe the government side or the people side, and he has been a judge of the High Court for the 5 years. He should be work as the judge for the High Court for the 5 years, or has been advocate of High Court for a 10 years. Advocate of High Court for a 10 years అంటే 5 సంవత్సరాలు జడ్జి కింద అయినా పనిచేయాలి, లేకపోతే 10 సంవత్సరాలు హైకోర్టులో అడ్వకేట్ కింద అయినా కూడా పనిచేసే అనుభవం కలిగి ఉండాలి. పనిచేసినటువంటి అనుభవం కలిగి qualification and a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the president, and ultimately, and he should be good judge in the eyes of the president. What they are telling, a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the president అంటే ప్రెసిడెంట్ గారి దృష్టిలో అతను మంచి వ్యక్తి అయి ఉండాలి. వాళ్ళ మీద ఎటువంటి కేసులు ఇవి ఏమి లేకుండా, కరప్షన్ ఇలాంటివి లేకుండా. ఓకే, హీ షుడ్ బి గుడ్ పర్సన్. He should be the good person in the eyes of the President of India. In the eyes of the President of India, and a distinguished jurist in the opinion of the President. In the opinion of the President. President యొక్క దృష్టిలో అతను మంచి వ్యక్తి అయ్యి ఉండాలి. ప్రెసిడెంట్ యొక్క దృష్టిలో అతను మంచి వ్యక్తి అయ్యి ఉండాలి అనేసి చెప్పుకుంటున్నాము. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ వన్, వాట్ ఈస్ ద టెన్యూర్ ఆఫ్ ద Supreme Court judge? The judge of the Supreme Court retires at the age of, the judge, not the chief judge, the judge of the Supreme Court retires at the age of the 65 years. He may also resign for his office by submitting a letter to the President of India. Yes, up to his tenure he may continue, may not continue, up to his wish. What is his retirement age? His retirement age is only the 65 years. His retirement age is 65 years. Before the 65 years, he don't want to continue in that post. He don't want to continue in that post. He can having the right to resign from his office. He can having the right to resign from his office by submitting a letter. By submitting a letter to the President of India. He can resign his office by submitting a letter to the President of India. Letter to the President of India. Okay, next one, what are the salaries and allowances of the President of India? Sorry, Supreme Court judges. Okay, salaries and allowances. The second schedule of the Indian Constitution. The second schedule of the Indian Constitution provides for the pay structure and the allowances of the Supreme Court. Completely the second schedule. And how many schedules we are having them? We are having the 12 schedules, 22 parts and 395 articles. Yes, I said already. What are the things already added? That is the extra. As per the now we are having that 24 parts and 444 odd articles is the. First of all, we are having the 8 schedules only. Now we are having the 12 schedules. Okay, like that the second schedule of the Indian Constitution. The second schedule of the Indian Constitution provides for in the second schedule they are discussing about the pay structure and the allowances. The second schedule they discusses about the pay structure and the allowances of the Supreme Court judges. According to the 2018 notification, the pay and allowances are according to means it will be changed according to the 2018 notification. The pay and allowances are as follows.
తెలంగాణ పోటీ పరీక్షల్లో ప్రభంజనం సృష్టిస్తూ స్టేట్ నెంబర్ 1 గా రాణిస్తున్న S&S పబ్లికేషన్స్.
తెలంగాణ గురుకుల 100% ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసులను స్టేట్ నెంబర్ 1 ఫ్యాకల్టీచే అందిస్తున్న కోర్సులు.
గురుకుల తెలుగు కంటెంట్ అండ్ మెథడ్స్,
గురుకుల మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ మెథడ్స్,
గురుకుల ఇంగ్లీష్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ మెథడ్స్,
గురుకుల సోషల్ స్టడీస్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ మెథడ్స్,
గురుకుల ఫిజికల్ సైన్స్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ మెథడ్స్,
గురుకుల బయోలాజికల్ సైన్స్ కంటెంట్ అండ్ మెథడ్స్.
పేపర్ 1 జనరల్ స్టడీస్, పేపర్ 2 పెడగాజీ, పేపర్ 3 కంటెంట్ తో 100% సిలబస్ ను పూర్తి చేసి ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసులను అందిస్తున్న ఏకైక సంస్థ.
మీ ఉద్యోగ సాధనలో మీకు తోడుగా మీ S&S పబ్లికేషన్స్.
ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసుల కొరకు S పబ్లికేషన్ యాప్ ని డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి.
మరిన్ని వివరాలకు సంప్రదించండి 80705577 and 9032064822.